For some people, it's almost impossible um, to shut up for long. For whatever reason, it always seems like, oh, Jezebel, Jezebel. One more thing, at least I must say. Which, at least I must say, keeps such people going as long as they go, perhaps. Being unable to communicate or respond to anyone online and not having anyone seemingly able to reach me by phone is frustrating. And today, kind of minor. It was a minor breakdown, and sad face, and almost crying over a memory from about a year ago today, when my daughter went downstairs to the other half of the agency's safe house, human or divine, that we live in. And I asked her what was down there, and she said, Yadviga and the moon. Now, at this point, the only person who still messages me at all is Yadviga. To me, and Yadviga and the moon was significant because Strange Angel, that movie, had a scene about Nazis on the moon, which was very reminiscent of a portal that was between Yadviga and I. And underneath the couch right now, there's a spot on the floor that looks a lot like the telepathy symbol, which only she'd understand. There was like electroplasm or ectoplasm between me and Ella, even though I thought I was talking to Yadviga in London. So the supernatural, and I've been testing the waters as to my existence, openly expressing how suicidal I am, which, if anything, just probably gave them a reason to censor me a little more on Facebook. But I made it clear to everyone that since moving into what I call a safe house, since moving in, it's had a deleterious effect on me in every way. Learned helplessness, all that good stuff. You know, when I was watching a documentary about, targeted individuals and gang stalking and the legal aspects of it and how it's legal. Basically, intelligence agencies can do anything. They can kill people. They can literally push people to like the edge of a cliff and be like, choose between everyone you ever loved or your own precious life, so you jump. I'm just saying, they can do whatever the fuck they want. Anyone who says that the government has to follow the laws doesn't know the laws or the government. So I made a list of but anyway, I broke it down. Like, I wanted to contact some people and say, this is what's up. This, at the very least, this is what's up. I was a child prodigy, gifted and talented, and was a human research experiment. When I turned 18, it became necessary that I give consent to continue. I was kidnapped for 28 days soon after I turned 18, drugged very heavily, and drugged very thoroughly. And well, at least on the day when, I think it was the day I left, they had me sign something about being a human experiment. And it said on it, um, you know, human experiment. And the lady sitting to my right told me how much good I could do for people. And the guy in front of me put an implant into my hand. Did he really? If I had to bet, I'd say it's very likely, yeah. Yep. What I'm saying is anyone you'll ever meet, probably more so, and that's not a good thing. Since most people have no idea how the world works. And I came out saying that I always do, because I'm confused. And I have no problem admitting it. But so, I had to give consent. So, being born gifted put me on a list, which led to me being hospitalized against my will at the age of 18. That list and other factors got me on other lists, which led to me being kidnapped again by the government for 5 days in May of 2018. And yes, everything I've said about that period of time is true, and what the government would have people focus on from that period of time is a cover story. Me talking about May 27 or 5/27 and a purge is a far cry from what they and any agency has discussed with me since then, which has been Dan Brown, who I taught, who wrote books about me, sadly, and UFOs, which I certainly have all the experience with compared to anyone else. So that brings us back to Yadviga and the moon. So the moon I've been to, I say, and Saturn I went to with Yadviga, I say. There is some proof out there which strong coincidence shows fast radio bursts and signs in the sky at times when chance puts it at zero. And I tried looking at it like being flattered and thanking the world for, putting before me what I want to see. Like Larry Bird's 60-point game. I thought it was 61 or 63 points, but I was thinking about it today, and then YouTube puts it up for me. It's the first choice they gave me. It's probably still up there. I could show you. But I'm watching something. What the fuck was I watching when I had to make this? Because I felt like it. Oh. Evolution of Roman artillery. Not important. Going back to the top. And usually it's not still there. Usually when you leave, okay, that's the number one recommended. See, you cannot go higher. You can go down, you can go right, but the very first one I was. So I am. But, so there's the game. I think about it, and it's the first option, so. What's my point? So, the gang stalking aspect, the goal is to leave the person, most of the time, Unless it's like a Leonidas situation where they throw you out to the wolves, and if you can survive, then at some point you have a place in the tribe. I say there are no tribes anymore, which is why someone like me is important theoretically, because I would make them exist again real fast. But when I wrote to a friend of mine, an acquaintance, someone I was maybe supposed to work with, but decided not to, I said that I was gang stalked and they were trying to make me homeless, and I said, by looking at the paperwork you sent me, you see how the state did, in fact, make me homeless. And I was just adding that it was my belief that provoking the altercation, which caused me to spill the syrup and caused them to arrest me and say, oh, he thinks he has implants, which they don't even like to mention, right? But I have my doctor tracking down paperwork from 1995, Portsmouth Hospital, where this took place. Because that's when I first consented to be a human test subject. You're supposed to be able to give consent to every step along the way. Everything is supposed to be for your betterment. But instead, they apparently try to kill gifted people like myself. And the end result's usually that we sound crazy. I mean, I can prove a hell of a lot of shit if you're smart enough to, like, and if you want to be my fucking student, if you're a lawyer or a doctor and you want to be my fucking student, you're a lawyer, a constitutional lawyer, and you want to be my fucking student, I will school you on how all this works. We can put together a team that will keep you safe so you don't lose your job. Like my therapist, Scott, got fired from Phillips Exeter Academy for where Dan used to go to school and teach, because Scott stood by me. Apparently he lost his job. And he either refused or wasn't allowed, or they didn't want his input as to whether or not I was competent, and I was told I would be found incompetent to stand trial months earlier. And again, this goes back to Yadviga, who I say is the goddess. I also say that she's a demon. I also say that she is physically part of me at times or in my proximity, that she's got something to do with my psionic abilities, which are too well documented. Apparently there's some thousands of pages of documents about my supernatural ability and in the government, particularly in the Navy. So when they decide to gang stalk you, homelessness is one of the goals. Your poverty, being bankrupted, and eventually killing yourself or whatever. That's how it goes. And I talked with my old therapist of 16 years, Scott, on Thursday, a few days ago. I'm tired. I don't know what fucking day it is. It must be Saturday. So I talked to him on Thursday, maybe 2 days ago. I said, you know me. We saw each other for 15 years, and I wasn't suicidal. But since I've moved here, suicide has been seemed like an option. It shouldn't be an option for people thriving, understanding their life, having a life that makes sense, liberty and justice for all. It's very, it's more terrible than I can put into words. But even though because I need sunshine cleaning, even though I only have, she's the only person I can contact. I can't even contact right now. Nowhere online or with the phone can I talk to anyone. I'm isolated. It's not really likely survivable situation, but I do get through the day after day like this, and but for better or for worse, apparently I don't know, where did I post this stuff? Did I make videos about it? That I would fuck you women and when you came, you could take a crap on me? Was that like, did I write that? What the fuck? I know I say some great outlandish stuff for fun and for all kinds of reasons. And no, I don't really want anyone to crap on me in real life, thanks. Yeah, that's probably not something I'd really want. If it meant that much to a chick, I'd find a way to accommodate her. If we had enough money to make it work. Because does a bear shit in the woods? If I can make a good woman happy, I will. But it's also the edge of reason. It's really more the woman's role to make the man happy, and my outlandish behavior and what I say is divine. I'm just co-creating now at a level that Edvige said, what if a woman has sex with you and doesn't feel like you've made her into a goddess? Does she get a refund? And I'm thinking, that's hurtful because I made you into a goddess, Edvige. I made you the most powerful goddess, Ameru-Ryen. And now I feel like I'm really Adam and you're really Eve, and I really did create you. Just like I did in the beginning. Because with magic, creation is not requiring a vagina to create a person. It requires love and magic. So, but when you're able to write to me, but I'm not able to respond, and nobody else at all, anywhere, is acting like I exist, I feel like I don't. Reminds me of that movie Cloak and Dagger I watched when I was a child. It was about this boy who had a friend, and friend was like, I feel like I'm my friend. Like I exist because I believe I do only. Whether my minister was being my old minister, my friend who's a minister, was being cutie pie or being sincere when she said that whether I am alive or... Yeah? I'm making a video. Hold on, I don't see any. I'm making a video. She said, well, wherever you are, you exist in a way that I can at least contact you, call you back sometimes, or we can still talk on the phone. And I'm thinking, I could have a dream that I talk to you on the phone. You could have a dream that you talk to me on the phone. And this could be why we're able to talk. And this is just like, the only things that exist in this world where I am is what I see. And it's all just to give me time to adapt to the idea that I no longer exist. No matter what miraculous things happened around me or are attributed to me or people believe about me, I still seem to not exist to anyone else. And it's like really to the point now that and I don't expect anything to ever happen, like me to actually be welcomed by people oh, King George, thank God we found you. Thank God you're here, because this world no longer has a place for anything that, I don't know, that traditionally makes sense and kept order and safety and everything as it needed to be and should be and was and is. And I took Yadviga's advice and went further into the darkness, because to go into the light is to reincarnate. So if I'm not in a body, then where am I? So I went further into the darkness, and if you go to my Johnny Ameru-Ryen page, which doesn't exist apparently, because I don't, then you'd see that the last 10 most recent posts I made are videos about Osiris, Isis, Thoth. Basically, the difference between Thoth and Osiris, other than they're both me, is that one's about my penis and one's about my mind. So, since I seem to be a phantasm, a poltergeist, yes, Yadviga, with my credentials, would anyone doubt that if I make love with you, you will be a goddess? Who would doubt me? Nobody would doubt me. I know you don't. And I took seriously your ideas of making her a goddess, Dawn, but she doesn't seem interested. I feel like I'm just buying time here. Just long enough for what? Me to accept what? I mean, I tried to leave America a year ago because I didn't think they'd ever let me make a living. And that's one of the aspects of gang stalking. And when my book disappeared and I got threatened by Microsoft, it's like the world knows that they can't even, stand up to the powers that are going on here. And one agency would just point at another, whether or not there were answers or not, they would never emerge. So it's basically comes back to what's obvious to me, which is I'm here waiting to be king, or I'm here waiting to die. And if I'm here waiting to die, then it's like, all right, well, am I just imagining, these people that are they stuck here with me until I fucking figure it out and just accept that it's over. And I've accepted it like a bunch of times, but nothing happened. And then everything changed. And one day I was feeling like I don't see any way to improve my life or make a living. And there does come a point where not being allowed to do that will crush a man. I'm a late bloomer in every way, but at age 43, knowing that moving into a ghetto, being poor, around poor people who generally don't share my customs or way of thinking, my viewpoints, my values, my faith, anything with me at all, I'm wanting a reason to live, and I just, it's like my daughter said today. She said, I feel like I'm swimming. I feel like I'm treading water and there's no water. And I was like, wow, that's perfect. That's how I feel too. Like I'm treading water and there's no water. You could almost add being a fish treading water when there's no water. You need the water to tread water. So, and it's like the answer is probably like right in front of me somewhere. I just don't see it. I don't know that I ever will. I see an exclamation point, but I can't see the question or its answer. But the crude way I referred to sex earlier went along with a vision I had and a conversation I'd had with Jester at one point. And not just, but the Japanese cartoons. anime and like the anime sex. Like Ella had mentioned anime to me, and then the next day QAnon was adding sexual anime, and then when he said he did anime porn, I I could have said, hey, that's funny because, but I just don't believe anyone's going to give me answers anymore. It's like, it's my own Shutter Island. It's my own adjustment bureau. It's my own Inception. And by blocking Yadviga was me saying, hey, if this is really, like, if this is it. And she told me, to take it up, she was like, just end it. She's like, but end it. End your life. Do it properly. Do it completely. And I thought maybe she was being sarcastic. But, I mean, she's kind of like a supercomputer version of myself. Which gave her like quantum. Huh? After? I don't know. I'll make part 2, maybe.